how important is it for Christians to rest on the Sabbath? Now, I'm talking to a bunch of pastors here who don't rest on the Sabbath at all. So anyway, Mark.
Yeah, I'd like to just read Genesis 2 because it's the foundation of this particular thinking. So the creation of the heavens and the earth, everything was completed. On the seventh day, God had finished his work of creation, so he rested or ceased from all of his work. And when you think about this, he did not rest because he was tired. He rested as an example for us. It wasn't like on the seventh day he said, that was tough, I've got to take a day off. And even though we don't, as New Testament believers, take Saturday as the Sabbath, I do believe there is a strong teaching on the Sabbath principle, that one day out of 7 we need to pull back, rest our bodies, be with our families, and most importantly, be with our Savior. Be in church, be in the presence of God. And the older I get, the more I appreciate and recognize the need for the Sabbath. I think we're living in a day where we have sports on Sundays, we have kids' activities on Sundays, and we're getting away from that principle. And I think we're struggling as a family, as a society, and in our bodies as the result.
Okay.
You know, as a pastor, you know, and as you said, God rested as an example, you know, to us. So, you know, my Sabbath is not Saturday, it's not Sunday. My Sabbath is Monday. And, you know, Monday, you know, I put on a pair of sweats and, you know, I don't go anywhere, you know, unless I have to do a funeral or something, because I know that's the example that God was setting. You know, he was saying, you know, he wasn't tired. He did that to set the example for us that, you know, we need to take that 24-hour period to rest. And so, you know, I think people's Sabbath could be on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, because, you know, what is the Sabbath? The Sabbath is saying no to regular work, and it's saying yes to connecting with God.
And was Sabbath made for the man, or was man made for the Sabbath? And so to go along with what you're saying, in that case, Sabbath will be made for the man. So in other words, man can, you know, because of their work schedule. Years and years ago, one of the northern states, in one small little town, they all worked Sundays, but in this one small manufacturing town, but they all had Wednesdays off. So a quick-thinking pastor said, you know what? I'm going to change Sunday to Wednesday.
So had church on Wednesday.
Had church on Wednesday. You see what I'm trying to say? And Wednesday night on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that church just took off because he realized that was a day their men had off.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that they have to. I mean, if we want electric lights, somebody's got to work on Sunday, and so there's has to be a rest of another time.
Right. And I'm thinking of two companies, and I'm going to mention them. You look at Chick-fil-A. I remember when they were up at the mall, they were paying thousands of dollars a fine every Sunday for not opening, and Hobby Lobby. Here's two companies that
owned by Christians.
Owned by Christians, and they will not open. And it's for their employees, and I bet their morale is much higher than that. Well, as a result,
I mean, it's good to have a day even in a company, and I kind of want to say this ahead of your answer, Jay. Is what about companies that are asking employees to work 24/7 now? Seems like 24/7, 365. Seems like everybody's on the clock all the time.
Well, I think that's where it goes back to some previous episodes that we had about it's better to obey God than man. And maybe you need to look at some other type of employment because it's not going to be healthy. It's amazing, though, that the rest was not, he didn't mention, that we think of 7 days a week, Sunday through Saturday. Well, you know, he didn't mention what the days of the week were. Yeah. You know, so your seventh day can be whenever that is. But I think it's something that's real important. I don't think the rest is physical as much as it is a spiritual rest. And Hebrews chapter 4 says, there remains therefore a rest for the people of God. For he who has entered his rest has himself also ceased from his works as God did from his. So the rest is not the fact of just physical, even though it affects it. It is more of a spiritual trusting in the fact that God, you gave me 6. He's saying, trust me with that other day. Isn't it amazing? Even with the manna, he gave them a double portion for those that rest. That's right. I know we got to go, but I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be good.
I like the fact that, look, here's a God who created night and day. He created that we have to sleep. He could have given us 2 suns or something. We wouldn't work 24 straight hours, you know. He made it so that we had to rest. We had to, and he gave us a day off for once a week. And he had festivals, and he even made it that we have to stop and eat and do things like that. There's a God that believes in downtime. So praise God. I love that about God.